Welcome everybody. I am Marilee Burnett, your tarot reader and astrologer, back again with the messages for the week of August 21st of 2023. And it's a really busy week. As far as astrology goes, we have the beginning of Venus square Jupiter. So Venus, the things that we love and value and beauty, and Jupiter, the benefic planet, the biggest one that brings us the biggest blessings. In order for those blessings to happen this week, Jupiter in the sign that Venus rules, Taurus, we really have to make sure that what we love and what we value is truly in alignment with ourselves, what we want, what we need, what we desire. And if not, there's something that will need to change. Now, a square between two benefic planets isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it does mean that there's a gentle nudge this week. Such as, have you subscribed to my channel yet? If not, go ahead and click on that subscribe button now. Give it a big thumbs up and be sure and share this video with someone that you think may benefit from the information that I'm sharing this week. You can also go subscribe to my website where I post a reading every single day that is about a tarot card and the astrology or an oracle card and numerology. So it's a really well-rounded message that I do every day on my Instagram and Facebook page. So to get really in-depth on the details this week, make sure you follow me there, because I won't have time to go into everything that's going on this week in as much detail as I would like, or you'll be here forever. But you can follow me and look at my messages daily for more information, or again, subscribe to my website, and that way you will become a part of my network, and I mail out the monthly astrology and post it on my website quite early. So follow me there for even more detailed information. This week, as I pull the tarot cards, we're going to be talking about Mercury Retrograde, what to expect and where you can find it. This week, we see the sun finish up its time at home in Leo, so things will get a little bit hot at the beginning of the week as the sun finishes its time there and transitions into a much more controlled sign of Virgo, which happens to be where Mercury retrograde will happen, is also in the sign of Virgo. So things are really about structure, health, organization, details. This is a sign that's ruled by Mercury. So this means this is going to be a really impactful Mercury retrograde, one that we all notice quite a bit. So we'll talk about that, and it starts on August 23rd and goes to September 14th. Now, I've leaned into this for the last several weeks, so I can tell it's definitely going to be very muddled, so we have work to do and we need to slow down. After that, we will have Mars trying to Pluto. Mars is going to be finishing up its time also in Virgo, and Pluto and Mars together can really power things up for good or bad. They're both in earth signs and both have to do with war and fight, gives you strength, and sometimes that Pluto energy empowers things beneath the surface, things that are hidden. So it's going to be an interesting transition there as we get towards the end of the week. And then during the weekend, we'll see the sun oppose Saturn. So we'll see who's going to win that battle. Those are two giant energies, both trying to win and both wanting to be in control. Of course, the sun will be entering into the sign of Virgo, which is lots of boundaries and lots of control. And then you have Saturn in Pisces, which is trying to create some boundaries. So this will be interesting opposition as both of those powerhouses face off. See how your weekend transitions because of that. And then lastly, we'll see Mars begin to enter into the sign of Libra. Now, you may have noticed a lot of breakups happening. Of course, in Hollywood, we're seeing them left and right. And that's because of the fact that the South Node has entered into the sign of Libra as of the middle of July. So this is work that we'll be doing in relationships. The South Node is the lessons that we need to learn in relationships. It's strengths we already have, but it's typically a letting go, things that we're moving away from. In Libra are things that have to do with the law, things that have to do with marriage, things that have to do with partnerships. So anything that does not serve us around those areas, any lessons that we need to learn in relationships, in marriage, in legal issues, right? This is the time for those things to be let go of and head towards the Aries North Node energy. This is where we get our strength, our warrior energy. It's ruled by Mars. This is where we relish in our independence. And it is where we, break away from giving our power away to other people and realize what it is that we want and be willing to pursue that versus just staying happy with somebody else's goals and dreams. Now it's time for you to stand up for yourself, and you're learning to do that. There's a reason that we spend a year and a half with the nodes in each sign. It's because it takes time to do the work. But you will notice a push at the beginning. And that's why we're seeing so many letting goes as far as relationships goes. As Mars moves in here, our desire to be in relationships that we're passionate about, though, that's what's going to escalate over the next 6 weeks. It's about 6 weeks that Mars spends in each of these signs. Now, Mars is leaving Virgo, where it's felt way too restricted and controlled. And in Libra, Mars is like, yeah, at least I can create some powerful relationships, right? I can experience some passion in the sign of Libra. And Libra is an air sign, and air to fire, right? That's oxygen. And that is what is going to help this build. So expect a lot of fireworks in relationships. There could be a lot of fireworks as far as legal issues go. There is definitely going to be a lot of passion in relationships, and air signs, of course, bring a lot of passion to any kind of communication, especially between two sides. So it's going to be an interesting 6 weeks. All right. So let's dig a little bit more into Mercury retrograde in the sign of Virgo. So Mercury rules Virgo. It's very strong here. And it's been here for the last several weeks, so you're already getting some clues about what you need to be paying more attention to. I personally have found that computers and details and working and planning has just been way more of a struggle than it normally is. I'm a Virgo rising, so I'm really good at attention to detail. And this makes that energy a little bit more of a challenge when a planet is appearing, right, to go retrograde in the sky. Things are not moving like they normally do. The planet is, slowing down. It's changing direction in its orbit, which makes it look like it's going backwards, but obviously the planet is not. So things like communication, details, all those things get much more difficult, and especially if you try to rush through them. So this is the time to really triple check your work, to really think about what it is you want to say and how you want to say it before you do. Trying to analyze all the details will be harder. So instead of, again, trying to rush through it, just make sure you give yourself a lot more time than you normally would, because otherwise it's just going to really frustrate you. Now, Virgo is a sign that's also related to health. So there may be things that we need to deal with as far as our health is concerned. We may need to look at our health routines. Maybe we want to go back to a healthy way of eating and exercising that you've done in the past that you know was really successful for you, but you've gotten away from it. This is the time to go back and re-engage with it, right? Anything with the RE in front of it is what you want to do when you are focusing on retrogrades. Now, I mentioned earlier, technology, work things, it is going to be one of those times where technology is challenged. So back up your work right now. That thing that you've been meaning to save, make sure you do it. Have you done a backup on your computer lately? Go do that as well. Just be prepared again for technology things to be challenging. And if you have some big, what would you have? Some big project, some big presentation. Make sure, again, that you give yourself extra time. You have a backup to your backup, and that way at least you're prepared when things get frustrating. But it's a really good time for self-care and self-reflection and to allow yourself to slow down. I know for many of you out there, this is the end of the summer and these are the last few weeks that the kids are home. So take advantage of that time of, slowing down and playing games and creating good habits, and that will make the experience much more enjoyable. Now, at the time of this retrograde, you can look at the snapshot in the sky, and it's like a birth chart, and the birth chart tells you what will your experience be for this Mercury retrograde. And what you'll see is the beginnings of that Mars speaking in harmony with Pluto, which of course is retrograde. So there's something about your power that maybe you've been ignoring. There's some fears that you've been ignoring or letting escalate. And maybe it's the use of your power that you need to look at and make some changes there. The other thing is, of course, with Mercury itself, it is in harmony with Uranus. Now, it has always been happy in the sign of Virgo. So as it stops and has this conversation with Uranus, Uranus makes you break free of the things that are restricting and controlling you. It's a couple of degrees apart as far as we consider this an exact trine, which is 120 degrees apart and in the same element. So they're both in earth signs, but Uranus is that surprise helper that comes along with, information. It could be financial because it's in the sign of Taurus. And I would recommend being careful at the very beginning of this transit because of the fact that Mercury rules transportation. And even though this is harmonious connection, it can still cause you to have unexpected accidents. So just be careful of that, especially because Mars, also known for causing accidents, it's powered up by Pluto, and something could come out of nowhere. Now, in the end, whatever this accident is, it's for your own good, but that doesn't mean you need to blindly go where no man's gone before and sign up for one. So just be a little cautious of that, but it can be a really good time for aha moments, conversations with people from the past, business deals with people from the past that you would spend the next few weeks exploring. This isn't the time for starting something new. This is the time to go back and review things from the past. So Uranus will surprise you at the time of the retrograde beginning. Uranus is also opposing the moon in Scorpio. So there is the potential for, again, information related to the past, information that is hidden, things that you're afraid of coming to the surface. And you're going to spend these next 3 weeks dealing with those fears once and for all, so that by the time we hit mid-September, Mercury's ready to move forward, so are you. So if there's something that you've been wanting to deal with, this is a really good time to dig in and deal with it. Now, with the moon in the sign of Scorpio, it is speaking in harmony with Mercury. So this is a good time to make sure that the thoughts you think and the intuition, the gut instinct that you have, you let them work together, because that's what the moon and Mercury do, is they get you on the same page as far as what you're thinking and what you're feeling goes. So also we have the sun just stepping into Virgo. We still have that Venus squaring with Jupiter. So there's a lot going on at the time that tells me that's why this Mercury retrograde is so intense, because there's just so much action. Mars, while it is speaking in harmony with Pluto, for instance, is in opposition to Neptune. And that just makes things fuzzy. It makes it difficult to move things forward. I think that's the energy that I've really been tapping into, because that is super fuzzy thinking. It's like, gosh, I just can't seem to, finish a project or finish a thought and bring anything to completion, just because of the amount of fuzzy thinking that's being activated at this time. All right. I think that is a pretty good overview. Like I said, tap into my information that I have out there on my website to get even more details as this week moves along. As we go through the card coming up in the next section, just a reminder to make sure you watch for your sun, your moon, and most importantly, your rising sign. Your rising sign shows you where things show up, literally, in your day-to-day life. And when you watch for your sun, moon, and rising, it's your emotional experience for the week. It's your ego experience, that things that you wish and desire that you don't always share with everybody else, except for your really close friends. And it just gives you a really good rounded view of what you can expect. And as I go through and I pull a card for each one of the signs, I'm going to tell you what house this is happening for you. Now, I have a worksheet out there. If you create a free chart on a site like astro.com and you go to the tools tab on my website, I have a worksheet where you can go through and you can look at all of the events for the year and what house they happen in. And I give you a little cheat sheet about what each house means, what the planets mean, what the signs mean, so that you can plan. The biggest gift you can get from astrology, number one, is understanding yourself and accepting who you are and why. But number two is planning, right? If we know when best to take advantage of the energy, you have a lot higher chance of success versus just willy-nilly trying to get things off the ground. So check that out. That is on my website, and I will put the link to that down below. All right, so this is where we take a pause, and I will pull out the tarot cards, and we'll begin our tarot reading next. Stay tuned. Up first in our tarot card reading is the sign of Aries. So Aries, you are dealing with the Queen of Cups as a part of your Mercury retrograde journey. So that means there may be a woman who comes back into your life as a part of something that you need to reconsider during the next 3 weeks. Now, the Queen of Cups is somebody who is emotionally strong. She is caring. She is supportive. She is nurturing. She is somebody who leads from her heart. Now, that could be that it is a need to express yourself that you need to reconsider. This is also a need to reconnect to yourself emotionally, and this feminine energy could help you to do that. This is happening in your 6th house, which is the house that is all things Virgo related. So this is your health. This is your work that you do on a day-to-day basis. This can be of service to others. This can even be your pets. So somehow, in some way, this woman is entering into your life and helping you reconnect to this house. Who shows up at work for you, and as a result really helps you get organized, helps you with a particular project. Just remember that this person is likely in your life for this short time window, not necessarily somebody who will stay around after the retrograde, but they could. So Queen is a court card. It is the number 1. That means that she is helping you through this retrograde journey create some kind of a new beginning. Taurus, you have the 7 of Wands, and just like last week, the 7 of Wands is a card that shows up when we really need to be standing up for ourselves. So again, Taurus, whatever this is for you that continues to show up, it is a reminder that over the next 3 weeks during the Mercury retrograde, whatever you have to do is something that is going to require you to be very diligent and spend the next 3 weeks really defending yourself. So this isn't the time to be afraid of anything. This is not the time to give in to fear. This is the time to really step into your power, to be resolute in whatever it is that you're pursuing, and to not back down. Now, the 7 energy is something that allows you to go within, to find that inner peace and strength, and know that what you're doing is the right thing, and to be comfortable doing it. Now, this happens in your 5th house. This could be something involving your children, could be a romantic partner, likely a person. The 5th house rules things associated with your heart, and this is you being taken advantage of. So you are no longer willing to play second, right? You're going to be putting yourself first, and you're putting basically a stake in the ground and suggesting to these people in your life that things are going to change and things are not going to continue the way they were, and you're going to spend the next 3 weeks during Mercury see, it's already affecting me, during Mercury retrograde, getting really clear on what things are going to look like going forward, setting your expectations with this either child or lover about what you want. And you'll get very detailed about it, right? That's the whole point. And be unwilling to back down. You're already a very stubborn sign, so it's time, right, that you believe in yourself and that you deserve what it is that you want, and no backing down. Gemini. When we see the 6 of Pentacles card, it is good news as far as finances go, because there is a rebalancing that is about to take effect. So whether you are on the receiving or giving end here, it is literally just a good feeling. You're feeling good because you're able to share financially with others, or you're able to receive. So when you think about Mercury retrograde, basically that is this time period where rebalancing happens as far as your finances go, and it could be something that takes the next 3 weeks to completely unfold for you. So this is a perfect time for you to be reviewing your financial situation, creating a budget, looking at your bills, creating a good payment plan to get yourself out of debt. And if you're receiving money during this time, same thing. How are you going to handle those funds? What are you going to do with them versus not just spending them, right? What are you going to invest? What are you going to purchase? All of those types of things are the conversations that you'll be having. Now, the 6th energy is happy, joyful, positive energy. So again, it has a good news feeling attached to it. Now, this could have something to do with buying or selling a home. You could be refinancing a home. You could be doing some remodeling because the Mercury retrograde happens in your 4th house. Something strongly associated with where you live is going to be under some type of review for the next 3 weeks. You could be moving back home. You could have somebody moving in with you or moving out with you. But whatever it is, you want to do it slowly and with careful thought so that whatever you're doing, you don't have to end up doing it again later. And it would be best to take the next 3 weeks to plan what you're going to do where your home and family is involved versus actually doing it. Wait till Mercury is moving forward again after mid-September to make those final decisions. But if it's not movement of your home, it could be something to do with your mom or motherhood in general that you're reconsidering. Cancer. The High Priestess. So you will be spending the time with Mercury retrograde reconnecting with your intuition. Sometimes it can be really easy, Cancers, to shut down emotionally because you can really get emotionally overwhelmed because you are so sensitive and you are so intuitive. If you're not good at grounding yourself and releasing the emotions of other people, you can get really worn down. And then you end up disconnecting altogether to your feelings and your intuition, hiding in that little crab shell of yours. And what the High Priestess says is it's time to come out of your shell, to seek answers, and to spend the next 3 weeks with Mercury retrograde really going through a discovery, self-discovery, right? And with this Mercury retrograde happening in your 3rd house of communication, education, transportation, there is definitely a lot of work going on where your mind is being activated, where your communication with others needs to be looked at and reconsidered. Now, the 2 energy and the High Priestess card, of course, is a major arcana card, which seeks balance, right? There's a dark pillar, there is a light pillar, there is knowledge being gained here. The book of all knowledge is held in her hands. So there is a really in-depth exploration going on for you that's important, and you don't want to ignore it. And by the time you're done with it, your mind will feel much more at ease and return to a place where you feel balance in the ways that you think and the emotions that you feel. So there may be, again, a mentor of sorts who you want to work with over the next 3 weeks to get yourself back to this place of balance. Leo. Another major arcana card. This time we have the Emperor, which is the 4th card in the major arcana, which has a lot to do with being in a position of leadership. Now, this could mean that over this Mercury retrograde, you are working with somebody in a position of authority and in a position of power. This could be something that you've been working on, and now this person is helping to elevate you personally to the next level. But again, you don't want to rush into whatever this is. You really want to look over the potential situation that presents itself to you in careful detail, and don't just jump at it because it's what you've always wanted. Make sure it's the right thing for you as well. So this mentor who comes into your life could be affecting the job that you do because of the fact that Mercury retrograde for you happens in your second house, which is the money you make. So over the next several weeks, you're going to potentially be reviewing job opportunities in order to have enough authority in the work that you do to feel your natural Leo self, right? You should always be in charge. You should be on stage. But you have to make sure you're doing work that is in alignment with who you truly are. And this person may show up for you to help you figure that out. Now, this 4 energy is about structure. And during the retrograde, you may be tearing down structures that are not supporting you and your journey and your passion for the work that you want to be doing in order to rebuild them back up stronger than before. There's definitely a possibility that you will have a new job by the end of this retrograde. Virgos, this is happening in your first house, and this is about you needing to get over your worrisome self. Now, the 9 of Swords is a card that shows up when we are absolutely too much in our heads, too much trying to control other people and situations. And it just simply doesn't work, and you are exhausting yourself trying to keep all of the details straight for everybody, including yourself. The 9 of Swords is time for you to let that go. And if you don't, when you end up at the 10 of Swords, it's a painful ending, and you don't want to get to that. So stop and de-escalate now. The 9 energy is about ending something. So whatever's been stressing you out, this is time to deal with it and let it go. You certainly don't want to spend the next 3 weeks being stressed out. So this card is a warning to you, Virgos, Sun, Moon, and Rising, that whatever you've been overly emotional about and trying to control, you're going to have to let it go. You're going to have to trust that the universe has a plan for you. You're going to have to let other people manage their own lives and appreciate that they are on their own journey, and you cannot control everything and everyone around you just because you crave so much structure and control that is the only way you can get it. Just control yourself and let others be what they will be. Now, of course, this is happening in your first house, so it's a better time to be focusing on yourself, how you present yourself to others. This is a really good time to spend the next 3 weeks focused on your health and your body in particular, right? The first house is how other people see us. So if you want to get out of your head, get physical, get out and hike, get into nature, work with crystals, do things that help ground you and at the same time clear your energy, but do not let yourself stay stuck. The great news is when you get out of your head and you do something about whatever you're actually stressed about instead of just thinking it to death, which never fixes anything, you actually have to take action. Then once the Mercury retrograde is done and you've cleared yourself of these thinkings and these thoughts, especially if you're being overcritical about your own body, you can totally change your mindset and going forward feel much happier with who you are. Libra. The 5 of Swords is another card, right? The Swords cards are all kind of warnings and showing us where we are focusing our thoughts that are not helpful to us. The 5 of Swords is fighting a battle of some sort where there's actually no possible winner and it's wasted time and energy. And when you think you've won, but you have no one left around you, what are you fighting for? You know, that's the question this week. The good news when you see the fives in all of the different elements and signs here is that it means that change is coming. So this is a time for you to change your mindset, to review what it is you're fighting about. Why are you even fighting about it or for it? Does it even make sense anymore? Are you just in this really bad habit of just arguing for the sake of arguing? So take a look at what's going on in your life and what you want to change, and use the energy over the next 3 weeks to make those changes. For you, this Virgo energy is in your 12th house. 12th house rules the subconscious mind. So this battle that you're having may just be with yourself. And it is the thoughts you think that create your reality. Are you really so attached to the past and a particular way of thinking that you can't see anything different in front of you? It's time to make a change. The 12th house is also things that can be related to large institutions. This could be hospitals. This could be a large company that you work for. And there could be a need to, break free because the environment's hostile and it's not worth it anymore. And it's time to make a significant change. And once you do, you'll be glad you did, because then you're fighting for something that you truly want and desire, versus just this thing that you don't even realize why you're fighting for it anymore. Scorpio, you are engaging with the King of Pentacles this week. So there is a financial mentor who will show up and help you over these next 3 weeks with your finances. So this is a good time to be, of course, reviewing your budget. It's a good time to be reviewing the work that you do. And it is a great time to be creating plans for anything that you want to be doing financially going forward. But it's not a time to launch into any big risky things like investments or new jobs, unless obviously you absolutely have to start a new job. But just be careful and cautious and look over all the details before you make any kind of major purchases. And look to this person for advice versus just trying to go it on your own. Now, this happens for you with the Mercury retrograde in your 11th house. So this is a good time to be re-looking at your friends, the groups that you are a part of. Could be service groups, could be a group associated with your work, since this is Pentacles. And, seeing, is this really the right fit for you, or if you've just been doing it for so long you don't know any different. But again, before you make any decisions or changes, look to this person who has a really solid reputation and background in finances that can help you make a decision. Now, of course, court cards are all the number one, so they help you create a new beginning. So this could be a mentor who says, hey, if you want to improve your financial situation, join this group over here. Maybe it's a Toastmasters group, right? Mercury rules communication. And through that process, you're going to elevate your speech and attract new and better financial situations into your life that way. Sagittarius. We have one of the soulmate cards in the deck. This is the Two of Cups. So something about Mercury retrograde has you reconnecting with your soulmate. So this is a really beautiful card, and it is beautiful and harmonious energy. There may be some of you Sagittariuses who are getting married, getting engaged. Reconnecting to someone you were married to in the past, because this energy of Mercury retrograde is happening in your 10th house, which rules your status, such as being married or divorced. It also could have something to do with your career, of course. And a soulmate doesn't always have to be a lover. This could be somebody that you were connected to in the past that is a soulmate to you, and they come back into your life during the Mercury retrograde with a job offer for you that you're really going to have to spend the next 3 weeks considering in detail. But obviously, if this is somebody who's a soulmate, they are connected to you for a reason, and you definitely want to be spending the time exploring whatever this opportunity is. There is always a journey when we are engaging with our soulmates, and you just want to make sure you understand what that journey all involves. The twos always are about balance. With the cups, it's about restoring emotional balance where your career is concerned. So there's lots of information coming up over the next 3 weeks that you're really going to consider. Maybe you're considering making some kind of a career change. And again, this person, the soulmate that is a part of your life already, could be somebody that you want to talk this over with before you decide to make a big career change. Capricorn. More Cups energy. This time it is the Page of Cups. So this is somebody who is presenting you with an emotional gift. They could be sharing their heart with you. This could be a child who is expressing emotional needs. Could be somebody who needs more support than just your financial support. But it's always a fun, happy energy when you see the Page of Cups that makes you feel good, whatever this gift is that you're being presented with. And of course, it's a court card, so it's one energy, which presents you with a new beginning. Now, this is happening for you in your 9th house, the house of growth and expansion. It is higher education. It could be foreign places. So maybe you have just started a new relationship and this person comes to you and expresses their feelings for you and wants to take you on an exciting trip overseas, which would be wonderful and loving, and it would mean that you'd have to take a break from work to do it. So be open to it, but again, spend the next 3 weeks really exploring what these feelings are about. Are they real? Is it just fun and flirty for now, and it won't mean the same thing once this Mercury retrograde ends? But just enjoy it, feel into it. But again, don't make any final decisions on anything, even your feelings, without fully exploring them first. Aquarius. So another 5 card. This one is the 5 of Cups. So there is something that you are disappointed with emotionally, right? These 3 cups. See, I'm telling you, Mercury retrograde is getting me. These 3 cups that are, tipped over, they're empty, they're, a big disappointment in your life. But that's in the past, right? This image of this person who's looking in the past and focused on the disappointment of the past is ignoring the future and these 2 cups that are still standing up. So your job over these next 3 weeks is to finish the grieving, whatever this disappointment is, and turn and face forward and focus on the opportunity that is in front of you. Remember that 5 energy is the energy of change. And there is definitely an emotional change that you're about to experience. Now, it could literally be a death that has occurred in your life of some kind, whether it's an actual person that you lost or a situation that you've lost. It is okay to be sad and to feel into your feelings, but it's not okay to stay stuck there. This Mercury retrograde happens in your 8th house. It is the house of death and transformation. Even the image of this person gives you a feeling of a death of some kind. But the point of things dying is so that you can go through a rebirthing process and not stay stuck here. So this is a big 3 weeks for you. Whatever this disappointment is that has happened, it is time to use it, to build from it, and to create the future that you want going forward. Whatever is removed from our life is always removed for a reason. We're either staying stuck, it had hit its expiration date, whatever the reason is for you. Now it's time to turn that disappointment into opportunity. And as a result of no longer having whatever that is for you, new opportunities can present themselves. So don't keep your back to whatever it is. Allow it to show up for you. And by the time you're done with this whole retrograde, you're going to have a complete new perspective and where you're meant to do, right? It's the Phoenix rising moment. So make sure you allow yourself to climb out of the ashes, because what is ahead of you is really rewarding. And last but never least, we have Pisces. So we're ending with another major arcana card. This time it is the Hierophant. And the Hierophant is about tradition. As you can see here, this looks like somebody who is a pope or some kind of a religious figure. But it is overall a message about getting back to something that is more structured, more traditional, and with your Saturn energy in your first house, Pisces, this would suggest something about that Saturn opposition to the Sun this week, where there is going to be a major power struggle. And because of that power struggle, maybe it's in your marriage, right? That you've got some big decisions to make. And you're going to spend the next 3 weeks making those decisions about what it is that you want going forward out of your marriage, out of this contract that you're a part of as far as your career goes. So there's some major work ahead for you this week. Likely to do with your marriage or business partnership, because of the fact that this is happening in your 7th house. So whatever the current structure and makeup, for instance, of your marriage is, maybe you want to change it up. Maybe you're tired of the roles that you have fallen into and you want things to look differently going forward. Same's true for a business partnership, right? It's no longer meeting your needs and you're no longer willing to just play second fiddle. So there's big work and big changes that you will be confronting in the next 3 weeks. But remember, it's a time for rebuilding, reimagining, and reprioritizing yourself in your relationships and figuring out what that is going to look like going forward for you. Remember, 5 is change. So it's time to make some changes and restructure your relationships and partnerships and make them work for you. All right. Interesting work as usual. I'm always intrigued every week to see what each sign has coming up for the week ahead. And this one is actually going to cover the next 3 weeks. So you'll be able to think about all of the lessons that come up, in particular related to the Mercury retrograde. Now, what Mercury pre-shadow does is usually give you a preview of the work that you will then need to review during Mercury retrograde. And that should be already in your mind. You've already been considering, contemplating, making adjustments, whatever that is, now you're really going to dig in and do the work over the next 3 weeks. Now, if you need help doing that work, come work with me. I have such a variety of options, whether it's a one-time session or a coaching package of sessions. I really keep less structure about what I do from a coaching perspective instead of fitting you into a box and saying, here's what you need. I adapt my coaching to match what it is that you need. And if what you need is hypnotherapy, I love helping you create the vision of your future by connecting with your subconscious mind and planting the seeds there that you can then allow to grow into this beautiful future that you want, and let go of the past, let go of your fears, and basically just get yourself unstuck. So please come work with me. Don't put it off any longer. You don't have to stay stuck. Use this Mercury retrograde energy to wipe the slate clean and create the future that you want, because anything's possible. If you've been watching my cards, we've talked about that a lot in the past week, which is being open-minded and letting opportunities present themselves to you, because anything's possible. Things can change in a day, as we've been seeing with all of the natural disasters, specifically over the past week. It doesn't have to take a natural disaster to change the course of your future. Choose to change it yourself. It's always better to choose to make the changes yourself than have the energy of the universe change it for you. It is never gentle. It is always like ripping off a Band-Aid. So don't let it get to that point. Take a chance and come work with me. I'd love to help you. Links to work with me, of course, are in the comments section below. All right, everybody. I look forward again, love engaging in you guys' comments and supporting you and your journey, especially during this very interesting Mercury retrograde. So let me know how it goes. I will get back with you with comments, and I can't wait to see what next week will have in store for us. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody.